afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring Tier 1 versus 1 on wrecked trains. Yes, indeed, and the trains that are wrecked, we shall be watching two armies fight it out. We shall be watching JohnBellostory fighting for the Panzer Elite, rolling out for the Panzer Lehr. Opposing them shall be Mao 1195772217. We'll just be referring to Mao since the other bits is a bit needless anyways. We don't need to know about the other 1195772216 other Maos. So here he is, though, fighting for the 3rd Armoured, ready to take on the evil Krauts. Panzer Lehr versus Americans once more. We are noting here a 2 engineer start from Mao. We are noting a dual Kettenkraut start from JohnBellostory. JohnBellostory initially hoping to gain a lot of territory, spreading out for both sides, both edges. And there we go, the first squad of Panzer Grenadiers on the way, second soon following after, and the first Gewehr 43 being equipped for the Panzer Grenadiers. The Gewehr 43 also being available in Commandeers 2, but more as a doctrinal weapon, which also gives you the ability to interrogate units. Dun dun dun. Most sinister. Plus it can also actually be upgraded to a larger variety of units, Grenadiers and Panzer Grenadiers. Would also be fun if it could actually be upgraded to the Pioneers. But John Mao focusing a bit more on the west. I mean, there's a small force being sent out to the east, but clearly his initial focus, his initial thrust is towards the west, likely because there are more buildings there, and he's likely able to basically dig in and hold out against any Panzer Grenadier attacks, or at least that would be my theory, although of course I could be wrong since I don't actually, have a direct vision into Mao's mind. There we go. Initial engagement. Engineers quickly retreating. Mao quickly and of course definitely realizing he cannot win there and retreats. Nicely done. Spreading out slightly more, but still the initial focus is towards the west. Kettenkraut will soon engage the Amerikaner, and we likely spot here that JohnBellostory is aware of this. Probably he's seeing the territory right here on the minimap and is shifting towards infantry. 3rd squad on the way. Dritte Zug on die Weg. Or something like that. In any ways, Kettenkraut getting engaged by the riflemen. Kettenkraut actually could end up in a lot of trouble initially. 2nd squad riflemen following up right there. Mao needs to push it in quickly. Kettenkraut already down to half health. Riflemen need to get into cover in Deckung Menau. We have JohnBellostory actually much quicker and actually getting into that whole cover business, ensuring that in this case, besides just having the greater numbers, he also has the cover. We are seeing more riflemen moving in. We're likely going to see a 3rd squad going in. We do quickly see one rifleman go down, quickly moving up here towards heavy cover. If they could get into the building, they might be able to gain a slight advantage, but no. Mao is trying to connect his 2 squads so they don't fight on their own. That's a nice move again. Buildings can make a difference, even if they're not quite as effective as in Commandeers 2, which is sort of nice. Oh well. Kettenkraut here, sneaking about, trying to make it difficult for the Americans to move about. Cheeky move, and we do see Mao quickly getting out of there. Fuel secure, might get to the victory point right there quickly. And 4 squads of Panzer Grenadiers so far for JohnBellostory, quickly getting the comfortable company up. And JohnBellostory swift to sever the resource connection right there for Mao. Good move. Infantry advancing, leaves the Kettenkraut to do the quick decapping, and then swiftly moves on to take the other resources while the Panzer Grenadiers continue up here the blockade position. But Mao, being clever as he is, actually decides not to engage this rather unfavorable position to him. Actually instead decides again to head towards the other side of that, which he then figures there's going to be a lot less opposition there, and of course I don't have to attack directly into a already held position of Panzer Grenadiers. So that is probably Mao thinking a bit ahead. A bit of cleverness right there from Mao. That is what we like to see. Again, sometimes the best move is not directly engage your opponent, but instead move elsewhere, force him to engage you. Fuel there being secured. Going in for the strategic point. Panzer is moving over there again. JohnBellostory figuring again that might be what Mao is up to, and there we go. Now we actually see Mao splitting up. He needs to be a bit careful again. We are seeing JohnBellostory, blobbing up his troops a bit, so he needs to be careful because it could separately overwhelm his squads, of course, that way gaining local superiority. I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't attack in force, but he might want to spread out because and there we go, grenade right into, oh dear, he rather revealed those grenades, but in a less than effective manner. I imagine he was trying to sort of throw at the squad instead of where the squad was moving. Another grenade, and oh! There we go. Several Panzers go down. Riflemen quickly getting a lot of kills, getting veterans one. We could even see a squad go down. That would be absolutely devastating right there to JohnBellostory in the beginning. And a squad is lost for JohnBellostory. A huge blow to the Panzer Lehr's Panzer Grenadiers. Nicely done though by, of course, Mao, of course, rather figuring that a Panzer League player who blows up his infantry will be vulnerable to grenades. So nicely done there by Mao. Really nicely spotted. Nicely chosen. Of course, grenades also nice in your attacking overall, forcing opponents out of cover and whatnot. But again, if your opponent is the type to clamp up his troops into very small bunches, again, grenades really do wonders if you can place them off correctly. And there we go, another grenade, and oh, in this case not quite as well, but still forces off the squad. And of course, pineapple grenades, while powerful, also cheap, so not a huge loss per se for JohnBellostory. Defensive operations up for JohnBellostory. My pronunciation slightly bungling up there, my apologies. 5th squad on the way to JohnBellostory, clearly not fighting with the Panzer battalion, but clearly more of a regular motorized one, without the trucks, of course. And we're trying to just rely largely on numbers. A bit risky, in particular, since we have seen now that Mao is ready to basically stuff a pineapple grenade down JohnBellow's throat. Pineapples are good for you, pineapple grenades less healthy. Unless you're the one throwing them. In which case, they're likely going to be very positive for your continued living. 4 squads by the looks out of Mao. I mean, with this sort of infantry fighting going on, he could consider getting a medic station up, so, help with losses, help with attrition. Another grenade going off against JohnBellostory. His troops are very clumped up, but the rifle squad goes down. Oh, another squad goes down for JohnBellostory. I'm not convinced that was worth a veterans in one squad, but nonetheless, that definitely tore out a bit of JohnBellow's teeth. Again, that is 2 squads of Panzer Grenadiers lost, but again, Mao needs to be a bit more careful with his infantry in the future. And again, in that sense, a medic station really would help, since in these types of infantry fights, it would give Mao the attrition favour, since again, they need to be able to actually recover some of his casualties, so they don't become full casualties, but only wounded, recovered, formed into fresh squads, and thus taking on the pressure to the enemy again. Of course, JohnBellostory might be forced to get out. Another squad of Panzers is definitely going to give Mao another more time. Trieste end up for him as well, so clearly so far it's actually looking to be a rather extended infantry engagement going on here from the 2 players, with basically only infantry and grenades and such from the 2 players. In fact, pretty much only a rifle fight, which is actually quite interesting.
The Americans are capturing a sector.
Panzers moving up there, the more heavily equipped Panzer Grenadiers with the Gewehr 43. Rifleman going in, might try and get off a grenade, of course. Now likely to try and, of course, again, if JohnBellostory gets his troops a bit too close, and now we do see them slightly more spreading out. That is good, actually, but still needs to be careful again. Granaten, going for the cutoff points. Mao so far actually holding most of the map. All of a sudden, JohnBellostory, after the advent of the grenade, is not quite as dominating as it used to be. So again, grenades matter, just like mines. Grenades matter, although again, mines do matter more if you know how to use them. Although if he does decide to go for mines, he has to be careful with the Kettenkrauts, as they can reveal them and pretty much render them pointless. Also looks like a Kettenkraut has been lost for JohnBellostory. And now going to the first mine goes off, killing poor Helmut. Left in a crater, face down. Panzer slowly advancing. Incendiary grenades here might actually be a possibility for JohnBellostory, and actually denying counter, but of course forcing out of it, giving his Panzer Gunners the advantage. But rather looks like that JohnBellostory decides against it. And there we go, another grenade going to get locked, and we do see a full retreat before the grenade is locked, actually meaning there's 25 munitions saved right there from Mao. And the 3rd armor now pushing up there. Full retreat from JohnBellostory, and we're seeing infantry doctrine up for Mao. I mean, considering the current playstyle though of JohnBellostory, I'm wondering if airborne doctrine might not have been the better choice. A well-placed strafing run really could absolutely wreak havoc on JohnBellostory. I mean, again, he's much too close to his troops, not springing out enough, not getting enough cover. In that sense, really setting off for one hell of a strafing run. But sadly, it seems he's not going for that, so that could actually be to the advantage of JohnBellostory. And that's not to say the mines are going to be utter nonsense, but I mean, I think there are better choices in terms of doctrine he could have employed against JohnBellostory and the Panzer Lehr Panzer Grenadiers, who actually largely only fought, if not only on the Western Front, basically one elite division which never really saw action on the Eastern Front, just like the Großdeutschland, except for minute battalions turned into their own brigades, saw action on the Western Front. So fun little bits there. Mortar half-track up, engineers pulling away. But apparently having called in a mortar half-track from a nearby armoured unit to actually support the advance. And already one mine has gone off. There's another one, but spotted. Another one there. The Kettenkrad going, guys, there's a mine over here. You might, want to deal with it before you blow up. Come on, loiter. Oh dear, looks like someone had been cheating at cards. But still a bit of a waste of a good Kettenkrad. Again, be careful when setting off mines as the Panzer Elite. They are likely to blow up some of your own things. In this case, a Kettenkrad was tragically wasted by the Panzer Lehr troops. Clearly, troops from the replacement battalion swiftly sent in to replace the losses, and thus not quite as experienced. And perhaps not quite fully trained. Panzers they're holding up here in heavy car, but of course won't be a scope. You will like to see grenades going in from JohnBellostory now, and there we go. We actually see full retreat. Mine goes off. He hadn't cleared out, losing 2 men on retreat. Oh dear. We do see the mortar half-track firing away, but that one definitely also need to be careful, very careful indeed. Although now Mao is himself clamping out a bit and actually rendering a bit of an easy target to the Granatenwerfer in die Schützenpanzerwagen. Careful, JohnBellostory. It's not a tank. Sticky bombs, in fact, and there we go. Sticky bomb, sticky bomb. Get off another one. No. Oh, it might actually get out of there. Oh dear. Mao should have locked 2, but of course he might have not wanted to waste too much munitions, which is a commendable thought. But sometimes, oh, and then he dual grenades the Panzers, of course, just as they're retreating. Careful, careful, careful. Flak filling, and there we go. The anti-aircraft gun just tears through the riflemen. Just guts them like it guts aircraft. Nasty stuff. It is a quad-barreled anti-aircraft gun. 20 millimeters of death. And I definitely think one rifleman squad right down there for Mao. That was definitely not a very recommendable advance he made right there.
Losing a fuel sector.
One rifleman squad down, 2 others scattered. And all because he didn't throw another sticky bomb and try to actually pull it in. And again, actually did so despite suffering heavy losses to the flak reeling. And be careful, I mean, they are quite effective against infantry. As you just noted right there by the Sterling, well, job right there by the flak crew. Die Flakleute.
The enemy is after our victory point.
And now Mao is a bit short of infantry, but we do see a tank depot up. And he's actually getting rather close to calling in a Sherman. That rather seems to be his intent. Very, very nice escalation going on from there. And currently, JohnBellostory is going to be a bit caught with his pants down. Winkling into the ditch, thinking all is clear. We do see an anti-tank half-track. Not necessarily going to be what's going to stop the Sherman permanently, but might actually buy him some time to get out some heavier measures. Another rifleman scored out, and there we go. He can get the Sherman. I said he can get the Sherman. Apparently not. Mining in front of his enemy. Careful, careful, Mao, careful. And there you go, retreat going in. Lots of Panzer Grenadiers with Gewehr 40 fleets. Again, the lazy man's option when it comes to playing the Panzer Elite, I think, by now. Grenades getting locked. Incendiary grenades actually now upgraded for JohnBellostory, actually increasing his firepower. That's something. Making it harder for the Americans to hold positions. And there we go. We do see a Sherman is on the way. The M4 Sherman. Panzer Grenadier down. The Americans, T-34 if you will, and the T-34-6 and the Sherman 4 were actually largely, when you all look at the final details, about the same. One had slightly better armor penetration, the other one had slightly better high explosive rounds, but that was about it. Oh, direct hit by a mortar round on the rifleman score, and it gets wiped out. Another tragic loss for Mao. Now Mao rather seems to be making a lot of Not so fortunate engagements, I feel, but he's still dominating most of the map. He's still holding back JohnBellostory. There we go, another grenade right into the horde. Getting a few kills right there, and a full retreat from JohnBellostory as the Sherman gets ready. Although he might actually want to get a tank destroyer to support it. Just suggesting. Also, he might want to actually secure the victory points. Mal, he seems a bit, blasé when it comes to actually dealing with the victory points. A bit, laid back. Not quite giving much of a thought to it, which, again, you should always, be wary of. Always try to focus on them if you can. Now, of course, not initially, but always later on. It's always good, to keep up some pressure on opponent that way. Sherman advances, opens up on the mortar half-track. 50 caliber firing rate, 75mm gun, gets off a great hit, but the mortar half-track escapes again. And we do right here see the light anti-tank half-track coming under fire, having suffered quite grievously to the Sherman. And the Sherman rather stuck at the current moment, with the mortar half-track actually making it very difficult to repair it. Otherwise, of course, they're going to get hit by a mortar round. So, slight problem right there for Mao. The Sherman was a nice move, and he's not got manpower for a tank destroyer to quickly follow up with a blow to clear out everything in advance, or afterwards. So, not looking way too sterling there, but we do see a medic station up. I would have liked one, I think, 5 to 10 minutes earlier, but there you go. Robin here quickly getting slowed down. Also, with the current composition he has, he might actually want to get a upgrade for the supply yard. Germany here getting absolutely blasted, dinged away. The shot's not doing so much actual penetration damage, basically just causing things to spoil off inside. Minor damage. Sherman's 50 cal dealing with a few Panzer sneaking up, rifle forcing away the minor half-techs. Oh, again, flak feeling gets Robert. And Larry apparently flat cruising more action today than it has seen in days, maybe even weeks. Now, mind you, they're actually quite fond of also using their minor anti-aircraft guns like the 2mm and the flat feeling much more aggressively in infantry support, even during assaults. So, slightly fun fact there. Oh, grenade there. Didn't quite do as much as it could have. That was a bit of a shame, but that otherwise, had it, really gotten off well, it could really have devastated JohnBellostory. Engineers quick to repair the Sherman. Anti-tank half-track up once more. If Rifle can get close enough for the sticky bomb, they might have a chance, but we do see JohnBellostory quickly and definitely pulling back, and we now see 2 anti-tank half-tracks up. And the mortar half-track moving up as well. No attempt at a sticky bomb. We do see a tank destroyer rolling in. And we also see that Mao is quick to secure points, perhaps even the victory point, and if you could get that one, you could get the triple cap on them, and actually begins much quicker draining JohnBellostory of victory points, perhaps that way also securing victory. Tank destroyer not moving in, aware of the 2 anti-tank half-tracks, and not quite as keen on getting shot up. But there we go. Engineer squad lost. Mortars and 37mm gun firing away. The 37mm gun was actually quite quickly obsolete in the war, even by the beginning, and was rather quickly known as the army door-knocking device, or Heeresanklopfgerät. But looks like Mao is going to risk it. He can't, have that Sherman out much longer with mortar rounds and other bits hailing down upon it. And of course the victory the strategic points right here provide the line of sight, so he doesn't actually to risk anything. But there go tank destroyer moving up, but quickly gets a destroyed engine. Just focus. But we actually seen 4 squads of Panzer gunners. It looks like he's actually got expert repairs, so they actually repair faster than the tank destroyer can damage. My goodness, that is. But no, the Panzer gunners. Oh, they were too close. The Sherman got line of sight and just wiped out 6 Panzer Grenadiers. And got another one. Oh! Oh, sweet vengeance. Ultimately, the Panzer are still there, of course, can still repair, but that was absolutely a kick in the groin, and another lesson, of course, for JohnBellostory for not climbing up his troops so much, but, he does seem to have a slightly nasty tendency of keep on doing it nonetheless. Not playing by sensible rules, but playing by the rule of cool, which never really was very good in the terms of military tactics. But most victory points still in their hands, and again, this point so long, ignore Mau. It's now actually being used by JohnBellostory to keep him from quickly getting knocked out of the fight. Full advance from the Panzer Grenadiers, or at least the remaining Panzer Grenadiers. Again, JohnBellostory fumbling a bit forwards. The overall still holding on quite nicely, but again, some slightly grievous mistakes. 2 light anti-tank half-tracks. Mortar half-track following up. Panzer Grenadiers fresh ones moving out to the right-hand side. Always sticking to the 5 squad minimum, it looks like here for JohnBellostory. At least he's been consistent about it. I might stick to 4, but that is JohnBellostory's prerogative. On the other hand, I mean, there's still no upgrade for the supply at full Mau. Though he's got full rifleman squad, he still might want something to, help with manpower upkeep and such. Also needs to be careful about spreading out too much. Again, he knows how JohnBellostory operates with his infantry. And in that sense, he should not be splitting up his infantry too much either. More tank destroyers that are on the way. Engaging the riflemen. Mau needs to quickly get out of there. There's more and more Panzer Grenadiers, 40 fleets and veterans appear. And a desire to shoot the Americans in the face.
We have a threat to our victory point.
Kitten crowds on the wings. A small basis of light and tracks providing a support base for the infantry. Actually doing that in a sort of sensibly way. With that, well, lightly mechanized fire base for his infantry advance. Can't really fault him for that though. At least he's keeping his infantry supported. With a bit of anti-tank and a bit of mortar fire, so he has a bit for different situations, and plus the anti-tank half-tanks can, if necessary, also be used to dig out any dug-in Americans as well with focused fire. Oh dear, again, Mau splitting up his troops, and again, there we go, JohnBellostory pouncing upon them. In this case, so they do get away, mostly unscathed. And again, it's rather here that I feel, that the airborne doctrine might have benefited Mau a bit better with a strafing run right here, getting close but taking heavy punishing casualties. Mau getting a bit too eager here, a bit too willing to risk everything, and he loses everything without actually doing anything.
Artillery support is
which
waiting
is
for orders.
Not really good. 3rd tank destroyer out there for Mau. Fuel point being secure, and there we go, Mark just holding, well, about 50% on the map, but 100% of all the victory points. Right here, JohnBellostory is actually draining awfully quickly. In fact, it's time to have a look at him. That's JohnBellostory with no doctrine as of yet. Aber viel Panzergrenadieren. Besten in der Welt. 3 tank destroyers rolling up. Panzer here might need to be a bit careful. The tank destroyers can overroll them, and of course the half-track will only be actually able to stop 2 of the tank destroyers. A lot of misfires. Apparently some of the guys have been using the shells for something else. And there we go, 1 anti-tank half-tank going to go down. 2 tank destroyers immobilized, but even then likely going to get one of them. We are seeing Hetz has actually been called in now by JohnBellostory again. Hetz is not so in Normandy, but let's just imagine it's a Stug, or well, a Stug would be more appropriate, I think. The Jagdpanzer IV actually had 80mm of sloped armor, meaning it was frankly about as strong as a Panther, plus it had 2 machine guns. Although also very, very rubbish side armor. We're talking about 10mm, meaning basically a 50 caliber. Correct, and artillery going in. Right here, off-map artillery going in against the mortar and the flak, feeling perhaps wanting to get vengeance, or perhaps wanting to catch all of the infantry. A bold move, but we do see the heads are going down. We do see the mortar. No, nothing here really going on. Flak filling suffers a bit. Ooh, there we go. Mortar half-tank hit. If only Mau had a Sherman to support this, you could actually really punish. I mean, this is really, heaven for Shermans. Just, high explosive rounds and 50 caliber rounds into such a huge clopped up glob of infantry. Fighting for the victory points continue. JohnBellow's side is losing very swiftly. Riflemen getting pushed away.
Gained the ability to instruct the troops on tank awareness.
Point being secured. Large force of riflemen and engineers moving in, wanting to salvage, of course, the vehicles. Quite sensible option. And looks like JohnBellostory will soon be summoning in another Hetzer. And there we go, the second Hetzer has arrived. Rifle squad quickly getting slowed down by suppressive fire. JohnBellostory moving on. Not quite wanting to face off against this apparently. While it looks like one tank is going to be ready, he could try and rush it in, actually try and crush as many Panzers as possible. And there go Hetzer though, moving up, opening up on the tank destroyer. In this case, the Hetzer will win. And there we go, tank destroyer down. Hetzer a bit damaged, a bit dinged up, but there we go, tank destroyer rolling in, going to try and catch as many crouched beneath the treads, or at least I would imagine so. That's what a lot of American players like to do with it, just roll in and crash some krauts. No, he was a bit too slow instead, giving the Panzer ample time to retreat. I mean, nicely chivalrous, but you know, chivalry doesn't usually win you wars. Mortar half-track firing away. Still alive, surprising considering everything that's been lobbed at it currently. But I imagine JohnBellostory is not too terribly upset about that. And again, sneaking a Kevin Macleod to take away the victory points to buy himself more time. And again, you know, Mao has done that ample time for just basically ignoring that far victory point early on in the game. For all we know, if you had taken it early on, he might actually be much closer to actually just winning against JohnBellostory. Proceed, Commander. Points being taken. A bit of quiet. JohnBellostory trying to fortify the front line. Still no supply upgrades. Looks like the rifle squad has been reformed right there for Mao. And there we go, full advance again. Mao needs to... No, don't split up your troops too much. Get out of there, don't... Oh, Mao actually committing a huge mistake. We do see Tilly going in here, but again, there's a slight mistake here. He's actually moving in such a manner that his troops will be caught in the line of fire. His troops will be cut apart on retreat. That was really a poor maneuver. He knew the force was there. He must also then be able to see it would move into his path of retreat and just cut him down. There we go. The priors of you not thinking about your retreat, you should always, try to have your retreat in mind as well when you're attacking or making any move. In this case, he clearly didn't, and JohnBellostory was taking advantage of that and just tearing through the riflemen. Had he, not gone in there and just retreated when he saw those Panzers advancing there, he probably could have saved that squad. But Mao does seem to have a bit of trouble preserving infantry. But an off-map combat group running with riflemen, tank destroyers, armored cars, and a mortar. Should be a nice large force. We are seeing more Hetzers being rushed forwards. Or forwards, if you will. Riflemen moving up. Panzer is getting shot at, getting pulled back. Panzer's pulling up the heavy hand cover. And we're seeing a large mechanized and motorized force being prepared there from Mao. He might want to strike in with that and do as much damage as he can. No, he's got something in mind. He's calling in artillery. Oh, the cheeky sort of looks like he lost another rifle squad. But the plan was trying to force away all the infantry. Then he's going to head it on the retreat with his tank destroyers and his armored car. Although a Sherman might have helped a bit more, but he's likely going to try and crush them, shoot them up. Although in that case, I think he should have just rushed in with a Greyhound mine in front of it. Bit of a shame there. Oh well. Now he just needs to begin actually crashing something, but we also see that the response from JohnBellostory is swift, without mercy. Going to move in. The heads, of course, catch the tank destroyers, who are a bit not able to focus them down. Flat feeling, firing away like a madman at an anti-aircraft gun. And there we go, one tank destroyer down. Panzers do suffer some losses, but overall, the overall losses on JohnBellostory perhaps was not quite as severe as perhaps hoped, although it does allow Mao to secure the front line. So even then, this gambit has gained something, as it has forced, in fact, JohnBellostory completely off the field of battle. Which is always something. But again, the losses for doing so may have been too high. And again, had he simply gotten a Sherman in there, I think he actually could have done a lot more damage with the high explosive rounds being unleashed again. JohnBellostory's Panzer Grenadiers. Still not a supply upgrade though. Shame. Really think he should consider that. Hetzer rolling forwards. Greyhound stuck in the middle of everything. might have actually tried to get off a Greyhound mine. That might have actually benefited really the Greyhound again. A bit of a missed opportunity there, I would say, from the Greyhound. You know, no Greyhound mines here, there. Oh, mortar going down actually from Mao. Killing a few, but the Greyhound gets spotted right there. Oh, Greyhound mine, come on. Oh, dear. Again, another missed opportunity, really, you know, delivering a devastating blow to JohnBellostory's infantry. Really, you know, a repeated shame right there from Mao. Let's go look at him, and let's actually have time for the mid-game analysis. I mean, Mao had just conducted a rather aggressive maneuver. Again, rather failed to, you know, get off some sort of great advantage, partly from, you know, not using the Greyhound mine, and he had the munitions for at least one. So again, bit of a shame, to put it lightly. But on the other hand, I mean, he's just suffered quite a few losses. I mean, JohnBellostory is basically up to that, and again, it's partly through Mao's, you know, insistence on losing troops. That's not to say that he hasn't cost, you know, John Bello himself some severe losses through, again, John Bello's slight fondness of lobbing up and not quite being solid at dodging grenades. So there are some, you know, both infantry issues from both sides right here in this match. But of course, also the heads is, you know, rather helping JohnBellostory, you know, stabilize things, and there's not quite a full focus right there from Mao actually knocking them out, which he might also go on. And again, that's that mortar. That mortar is really proven to be a bad investment in Mao, just only having lobbed one sticky bomb. But we also see that JohnBellostory is actually under a lot of victory point pressure, and again, had he, you know, had those victory points early on much longer, it might already be game over for JohnBellostory. But now he might actually have a chance to regain the field and actually make a proper comeback. But he needs to slightly spread out his infantry more, not blob up, not spread out too lightly, but again, sort of, you know, so they're not quite as easily to, you know, just throw off the map. Plus, he needs to be a bit more aggressive. He needs to push forwards. He needs to do some damage. He needs to try and lure Mao into some engagements he can't win. And for Mao, he needs to, you know, stop wasting infantry. He needs a Browning automatic upgrade for his riflemen, which he does actually have. Sticky bombs, yeah, so pretty much all that. Never mind, but supplied upgrade would definitely benefit him beyond all measure. Perhaps consider some more off-map combat groups, hoping basically to overwhelm Mao through numbers. At least that would be one way. Otherwise, get some Shermans. Get some Shermans, upgun them with some tank destroyers, and I think it would actually overall take on most of JohnBellostory's forces. I mean, with two Shermans taking on Hetzers, no problems there, gentlemen. Particularly upgun, but again, also they could also much more easily deal with the infantry, so I think that would rather work out nicely for Mao. But, you know, that would be either two suggestions I would imagine. But let's return to the fight, to the command of Mao of the 3rd Armoured. Troops pulling back. Mortar awfully damaged, but again still a threat to Mao and his infantry with 19 infantry kills. That is definitely doing pretty damn well. Heads are getting repaired. Also quite well. And again, I do believe this is simply the cause of having gained expert repairs in that sense. You know, JohnBellostory actually focusing his strategy around the infantry, supporting them, but also then, of course, getting all the vital upgrades for his infantry, including expert repairs. And that is actually a very good upgrade. And we do see a 3rd Hetzer out. So lots of tiny Sturmgeschütz being sent in to support JohnBellostory in any further endeavours. Moving in the mortar, though, to take up the victory point. I think that's a bit of a wasteful move right there. Also, one thing I actually like about Company of Heroes 2 as well is that, you know, you don't lose guns if they're, you know, set up, or not set up, you know, being carried around, because in Company of Heroes 2, I mean, they'll just drop it anyway, so that's also slightly one thing I actually quite like more about Company of Heroes 2. But there we go again, Mao spreading out his troops too much, JohnBellostory focusing down, and again, Mao not quite imagining the retreat path, thus again losing his full squad senselessly. So again, some rather considerable and repeated problems right there from Mao, and we're seeing several tank destroyers now being prepared, looking to overwhelm his opponent through sheer numbers. There we go, 3rd tank destroyer. Rifleman moving up, tank destroyers, well, Hetzers focusing down, machine gun fire, and main guns. And there we go. Riflemen are on the run.
Operation posts report we are losing a sector.
Slight engineer advance, and there we go. 3 tank destroyers rolling up, getting off several good hits on the hits, and the other hits getting cold artillery in on, forcing the Panzer gunners away, opening up for the tank destroyers to move in further. Gun damaged on the Hetzer. That is the top-mounted machine gun right there. They're not going to do so much. Moving his tank destroyers into the artillery barrage. Perhaps not the best idea, but there we go. 1 Hetzer down, 2 to go, and they are awfully split up. 1 tank destroyer out of control, but looks like 1 Hetzer more is going to go down. Can Mao keep up the advance? And there we go. A 4th tank destroyer rolling in. Panzer is going to disperse themselves. They could get crushed, actually. There we go. Heads are going to go down. Veterans are free, by the way. Mortar half-tech. Will he finally get it? Will he finally get vengeance for all the Americans lost? No, he focuses down the heads, and JohnBellostory is just rushing around with the mortar half-tech in panic. Ach du lieber, save the Granatenwerfer, whatever you do. And there we go, another Hetzer down. That was 3 Hetzers, and he only lost 1 tank destroyer. Really nicely done there. Really nicely done there. That was partly because, in this case, JohnBellostory split them off too much. He didn't, didn't pull them back when all this came. Didn't try to put as much distance between him and the tank destroyers, allowing the tank destroyers to outmaneuver his tanks. So, well done right there by Mao against JohnBellow's tank destroyers. We do see Panzer now. That could also help, but it's sadly too little too late in this case. The 3 Hetzers are kaput. And we're seeing Mao moving forward again, although he's very much once more lacking in infantry. He might try and hope for an off-map combat group to provide him with something in numbers. And what is this? The Jagdpanther. Now that should be fun. That should be very fun indeed. Artillery going in on the Panzer Grenadiers. Going for the victory point again. Does manage to render it neutral. Putting the pressure on, but again, careful, Mao, careful. You know what's going to happen. JohnBellow seems to know what happened, and you don't, so it looks like you might lose another rifle score just to get that point. Wasteful, wasteful. I would say anyways. And a Kettenkraut went down to a tank destroyer on the far west flank. Although we do see JohnBellostory making a move for Mao's medics. The Panzers most quickly get out of their survival move. And interestingly enough, there's been no attempt to suppressive fire though from Mao's riflemen. I mean, that would actually much quicker get the Panzers a lot less combat effective as they'll get suppressed. So I think a bit of a missed opportunity, and that could also have been one of the ways you could have tried to deal with, JohnBellostory's blobbing up, again, suppressive fire from the BARs. Again, very quick to suppress, in fact, one of the quickest suppressive methods in the game. But there we go with the Schwerer Panzerjäger Jagdpanther out on the field. Things are going to get a bit troublesome for Mao. Although, of course, he wants to try and get all of his tank destroyers in a one huge wave. He might actually stand a chance in knocking out. And there we go, the mortar half-track still there. 30 infantry kills, ladies and gentlemen. 30. An absolute beast, that mortar half-track. We do see JohnBellostory actually beginning to lay down a protective minefield to avoid his Jagdpanther actually getting swarmed by tank destroyers. Really clever move right there, in fact, from JohnBellostory. Realising, of course, again, he's a bit short on number, so he uses munitions otherwise to sort of even out things tactically in this situation, giving his Jagdpanther a much greater chance of surviving and overwhelming and overcoming the tank destroyers. There we go, the riflemen start moving in. 1 squad against the Panzer Grenadiers. I fear Mao might be trying to repeat the thing again. He's so close to getting the victory points again. He's going to reach that stage where basically go, oh well, doesn't matter how much I lose, eventually I will win this. And that's the sort of dangerous thinking that can end up losing Mao in the game. Again, he's got 332 victory points. His opponent's got 34, and they've got another rifle squad lost. Again, he keeps on doing it because, again, he thinks he can redeem himself. But again, he's not, because he's losing too many squads and he's not fighting very sensibly tactically. There we go, the grenade against the Panzer Grenadiers. not quite doing a lot of damage. There's still one squad of Panzer Grenadiers with Panzer Strikes. We're seeing JohnBellostory moving his large infantry force in. 4 tank destroyers out, and likely we will be seeing an off-map combat group anytime soon. Panzer Grenadiers getting murdered. At the same time, again, we do see JohnBellostory's forces moving in. Close to those 800 manpower, and again, though, I think also an earlier supplied upgrade might have benefited. Situation is now much more in the hands of JohnBellostory after Mao, rather, again, lost a lot of infantry squads in several cases, quite needlessly, basically being a huge manpower waste. And then we go another squad going to... Oh, lost again. Right here, Mao is definitely committing a grievous error rather repeatedly. And now we got 4 tank destroyers, although one is still a lot to go in terms of repair. Howitzer on the way. He's likely going to try and catch the block. It's going to be a bit of an endeavour to actually try and catch that. Mildly put. And replacement rifle on the way, so there will be no off-map combat group, which might have provided him with sufficient overall brute force to overwhelm JohnBellostory. In particular, if it had provided Mao with another 2 tank destroyers, that would mean 6, and I probably could have overwhelmed JohnBellostory's Yak Panther through sheer raw force. But no such luck. No such ideas. Instead, we actually see JohnBellostory securing all victory points, pulling back. He could try and secure the BR so there to increase his firepower even further on his Panzer Grenadiers with the Gewehr 43s. Another rifle squad on the way for Mao, still no upgrade. A Berger out for JohnBellostory, trying to cover his armoured losses. That's a good move right there from JohnBellostory, what we like to see. Well, that and then flak feeling getting 11 infantry kills. There we go, artillery firing. In this case, likely because, and here JohnBellostory made a slight mistake, he actually advanced past the strategic points. And here's the thing, they always provide some line of sight. And of course, if you then get spotted, well, you're going to get, of course, in this case, hit with artillery. In this case, Mao made a rather decent prediction on where the infantry was, of course, going to be, and fired the artillery straight at it. So, lovely work right there. Another rifleman squad being fed into JohnBellostory's meat grinder for some not clear reason except to call in off-map artillery again. Not so effective against infantry like that. And once more, airborne doctrine might have been the better choice. Again, going for the victory points, going for the both on the sides, trying to get the drain to slowly but surely choke the life out of JohnBellostory's forces that way. Another rifle squad almost wiped out. Oh, we do see a full roll going into that from the tank destroyers. And that could actually hit JohnBellostory from the one angle he might not be quite ready for, but no. Mao pulls in his tank destroyers once more. And there we go, first Telemine went off, almost wrecking an M10 tank destroyer in the process. Yak Panther, quickly sensing weakness, moves out to destroy it. And yeah, that's going to go down. Out of control, tank destroyers rolling back, or at least the remaining ones. Out to turning about. A few shells hitting off. Telemines can actually do wonders for Mao in any case of an advance. In this case, one shell almost taking out an entire Panzer squad. And that really seems to be about it. Next shell very close in the Yak Panther. Oh, there we go. Telemine actually went off, taking a bit of chunk out of the Yak Panther's health. Should also ease up any advance from Mao if he was to attack. Then again, off-map combat group might give him the sufficient numbers to advance. A few engineers trying to hold back the Panzer is not likely to succeed. Armoured cars rolling in to actually keep the flanks a bit more clear. That's actually a very nice move there by JohnBellostory, using armoured cars to basically protect against small harassment units. Sticky bomb though renders that a slightly less sensible prospect, since again he was a bit too close in this case. Immobilised Rifleman though going to take an awful beating, as numerous of their comrades are lost with the same expendability of a Russian conscript. And there we go, full advance from the tank destroyers. Going in after the armoured car. Ooh, went down. One tank destroyer down, and now coming under an intense volley from the tank destroyers. That is not going to end out well. Not with the Yak Panther on the field. Not with its high velocity 88mm gun. Another tank destroyer going to go down like a piece of paper folded intricately in the form of a tank destroyer. In this case, a Wolverine. And there we go, another off-map combat group running in with 2 tank destroyers and an armoured car, all of a sudden saving him from the losses he just suffered. But will it be enough? Since JohnBellostory just ended 2 tank destroyers with such swiftness and brutality, it must have left Mao at least a bit shocked or dismayed. And we're seeing one heads being pushed in, going straight for the howitzer. JohnBello hoping to deny his opponent vital artillery assets, and we quickly see that Mao swings about all of his tank destroyers to hit the heads up from the rear. And there we go, JohnBellostory's rush is possibly going to assault in a tank destroyer, going to go down. And there we go, several shots from the 75 3-inch gun straight into the rear, turned it into scrap. Sticky bombs on the Bergediga, another squad lost. And so many Browning automatics left here, you'd think they were dropping candy bars and not BARs. And there we go, we're clicking ahead, missing armoured car, absorbing a teller mine. That was a very... not entirely sure how to describe that at all, honestly. But already there, 1 tank destroyer down again. JohnBellostory is down to 2, but still he's got the Yak Panther, he's got the heads, and he's got a Panzerrex squad ready and equipped, in fact, with dual Panzerrex. Heavily equipped, meet the Raketen-Panzerbuchse. They are able to cut down Mao's advancing tank destroyers. Howitzer goes in straight for the Bergetiger. Panzergrenadier sneaking about. And things are beginning to look very grim as... And another swift retreat. 1 tank destroyer short. And the Bergetiger getting pummeled with artillery. And Mao is really crippling himself at this stage. So far, just seems to be displaying the utter contempt for life that his namesake seems to have shared in as well. And then we go, another Rifleman squad popped off. Looking more and more unfortunate for Mao, who had a really good start, a really good mid-game, and then he saw that JohnBellostory was short on victory points, and apparently he lost it. He got drunk with the chance of winning the game. And now JohnBellostory pretty much has the advantage. He's got most infantry, most stuff to blow up the other tank destroyers with. And an armoured car here to hold off the riflemen. And again, Mao keeps repeating that same mistake. Sending off some riflemen on a suicide mission. And getting them killed.
Forces are taking casualties.
Likely going to sneak up there, but overall again not looking good. Well, the artillery's not really doing much either, and again, one more and more feels that this was the utterly wrong choice of doctrine for Mao. Again, a good strengthening around here too, and might actually ended the game much easier for Mao and just left JohnBellostory much crippled. compared to the artillery strikes, because again the Panzer Lehr is not really such static force, and again artillery, like the off map, is more directed towards static forces, dug-in forces, and the Panzer Lehr tends to be a lot more of a fluid force on the offense, but also on the defense. Which again is also something the Russians might want to learn when playing Company Moves 2, since again there has been some complaints, they were lacking in emplacements and thus apparently couldn't defend. Again, as a rule of thumb, there's always a way to conduct a defense as long as you know what you're doing. In this case, JohnBellostory is running a slightly more fluid defense with infantry, tank destroyers, and some mines. And, Panthers, which also tends to help. There we go, 1 victory point in the hands of Mao. Let's just speed this up. Not really much going on. Panther rushing straight to the base. Another off-map combat group, more tank destroyers, but not really going to have a chance against 2 Panthers. So might as well speed up the ending, since there's not really much here to point out otherwise. Slight move towards here. Panther strikes get them. Barbed wire and tank traps, and GG, and game over. JohnBellostory asking if it's okay to upload on GameReplays.org. Not everybody knows on that site, but it's an alright place to get replays if you do so need them. Which is what I'm due. Otherwise, there you go. Game over again. Nice start from Mao. Solid mid-game, but again, basically as he got closer to ending off JohnBellostory, he got really, I don't know, either overly aggressive, overly greedy, I don't know. He just kept losing a lot of units rather senselessly. He kept spreading them out, and rather making it easier for JohnBellostory to basically overpower them, just losing a lot of units senselessly. Of course, JohnBellostory, got punished early on for his blobbing with grenades. Really well done. Problem was, again, Mao didn't quite follow up on it. And again, I think airborne doctrine with strafing runs would have been the better choice to really punish JohnBellostory for his blobbing up. Otherwise, again, some Shermans in sort of that mid-game point, really, where a lot of the heads began appearing, might have helped also against the infantry. So again, rather some missed opportunities there by Mao. JohnBellostory basically overcoming through sheer tenacity and the greediness of his opponent. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. Pardons for the technical difficulties. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.